Welcome back to another video. It's Bradford v Gillingham match reaction. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below, and your player ratings in the community tab. 1 being the best, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best and 3 being the average. It's a disappointing draw again because we just can't keep a lead in the last few minutes. I remember it happening against Mansfield at end of January. That would have been a massive win in the context of the table at this moment in time and at that moment as well. I think that was a 1-1 draw, 90 plus minute equaliser for Mansfield. Happened against Crawley, I think, back in October, and it's happened numerous times in the season, but I just can't remember. Whereas, we thought that we would have been the team coming away with a relatively late win through an Andy Cook penalty. It was a penalty. Banks, I thought he had a good game, Banks, but didn't contribute enough. I thought a goal was coming. Won 6 games in our last 10. And a lot of them have been at home, a lot of them have been not being able to keep a lead, and a lot of them haven't been able to score first. And that first half performance just weren't good enough. We had too much of a ball because we weren't going anywhere with it. Obviously, there were a lot of frustration with the short goal kicks and not taking it, playing long, direct, playing the percentages. And against Gillingham, it didn't work. Obviously, playing short. I'm an advocate for playing short. I like playing short. It entertaining all the time. Whereas the second half, that was bloody entertaining. Wingers get overlapping, crosses into a box. Playing in their half, but effectively, like I say, that first half it just wasn't good enough, and we all know that. And unfortunately, we didn't turn up in that first half. The fans did. The fans were fantastic, encouraging, chants. First 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, but then there were realisation of we're not playing well enough. Too many backward passes, not enough confidence in the players. I think that went with a lot of criticism from the stands, but rightly so. If you're not going to turn up, if you're not going to play, if you're not going to just play well, I mean, it was a simple game that we had to play. Gillingham came to press out the pitch, to not allow us to play out from the back, and we fell right into their hands and they scored. I think the Young's goal came somewhat similar to that. I think Critchlow, I can't remember, but I think he tried playing a back pass towards Harry Lewis. Dieng intercepted it, scored a really good goal, to be fair, a good finish. Critchlow couldn't quite recover, and he didn't celebrate, did he? So I think we have to respect Dieng for that. I did like him at City, and at least he didn't go and shush us or do the old earwag that they all do against us. I think that these deserve criticism. Happened towards the end of the game as well. I'm not sure who the player was. It did look like Tom Nichols, but I might be wrong. Went towards the main stand, doing all that into fans, and then Bottle got through at him. We'll probably get fined for that. Something will get said about it, but at the end of the day, obviously we don't want to see that. It all gets said, but if the players are going to come out saying that's unacceptable, this and this and this, well, maybe don't go shushing the fans. There's always ways around not doing it. Someone gets provoked, but ultimately, maybe the draw on the right reflection of the game, because we just didn't get going in that first half. It did have to take an unbelievable second half to get us going. We went with 3 centre backs. Platt came on and we conceded from a corner. I think we just switched off. I'd have to say again, Ollie Hawkins got the goal, but it was just devastating. It was just a heartache of a goal to concede that late on, and it does feel like a defeat, but effectively it is a defeat because in terms of the automatics, that's over. We can definitely forget about that. I said we needed 4 wins from 4 to have a chance. It were in our hands. We had to win our last 4, win our last 5, and we hadn't done that. We drew. We lost to Swindon in the week. Terrible performance. We've come at home. Big following from the fans. Great showing from the fans as well. Great encouragement. And we bottled it effectively. I don't like saying that word. I think it's got to be used at certain times, but not winning in our last 2 against 2 sides in mid-table who have nothing to play for, when the game was there to be, took, we didn't show up, unfortunately, and that happens too many times. These players in that game, especially the first half, where I looked at them and I thought, you're not fit to wear a Bradford City shirt, because you've got to have a certain type of character and a certain type of personality to play for Bradford City. That's what we've seen the last few seasons. That crept into a few players, but then I think on the positive side, maybe building towards next season, if we're lucky to get in the playoffs, which we'll have to be, Both us and Mansfield have games in hand on Salford, but they're finding ways to score late goals. We're not, we're conceding them, and we're not getting the points we should be picking up, but the performance reflects on leading up to that late goal we keep conceding. It just wasn't good enough throughout, and we've got to massively improve. 3 cup finals, we said that 6 games ago. No, we didn't. We said that 3 games ago when there were 6 cup finals, and since then we've only had 1 win. I think that's a sort of thing you've got to take from an automatic promotion push, and then to fall away and it becomes a playoff push. If you keep sliding away, we'll find ourselves finishing 8th, not in the playoffs, and the season becoming a massive failure. Players targeted, manager question marks over. Some fans would definitely want him gone if we don't finish in the playoffs. Let me know your thoughts on him in the comments down below, because he's a failure. I think 92 game project. See how he does next season. Halfway through, review it then. He's definitely the right man for the job in my opinion. His personality is the type of personality you need. Another recruitment window in the summer. I think that'll definitely improve with lessons learned. I think we saw that in January with certain type of players coming in. Your Derbyshires, your Claytons, your Stubbs, talking players with experience, with good leadership, and then with a full summer ahead, have a look at certain players who weren't good enough, and the recruitment weren't good in certain areas with Nevers, who had a terrible game, Costello, a few others, but not many. We'll have another look at that, and I do think that experience that Hughes is gaining in the Football League, 4 years out of football as well, maybe 5. I think we'd need that extra year, but playoffs is a massive failure because a lot had us, for title or even automatics, and not to get playoffs. That would be a massive disappointment from where we have been all season. But into player ratings, Harry Lewis, tough one. First half, he was part of the reason why we were losing and why the confidence went in a lot of players. However, the second half, that was an unbelievable showing from him. Not sure if he could have done better on the goal from the corner, but he made 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 really good saves. He definitely made 2 or 3. Fantastic saves that kept us in the game. And then, we conceded the goal. But I think he showed great character to come back from that terrible first half with a full stand massively against him. It takes a lot for a type of player to come back from that. I'm not sure how old he is. I know he's relatively young for a goalkeeper. He's currently at the age of 25, 26 this year. He's coming towards his prime years, but if we lose him in the summer, it'll be a big miss, and there's a good chance. But I'll be in the minority here. But if it is for the right price, I would accept it. If it is the right price. But we don't want to get conned out of making a decision. I think he'd be happy here. But I think what we saw today was a Bradford City type of character performance that you need to come back from a dark place, which it will have been, to then have that second half. It were great. So onto a player rating, I'd probably give him a 4. And one thing I've seen, a lot over the last 6 months is massive criticism of Matty Platt. Now, Matty Platt is a no-nonsense centre-back. He'll get his head on a lot of things. He'll get it into the, he'll kick it out. He's no nonsense. He's decisive. He knows what he's going to do, and the mistakes that Stubbs and Critchlow have been making recently, Platt wasn't making those. However, he came on and we conceded, and I'm not sure if it's his fault, but he's a steady player. Whereas sometimes Stubbs and Critchlow, they're still getting to learn the partnership with each other. But they both have had okay games recently, and not great. So I'd give him a 2 just because he was at the heart of a failing defence in the first half, and his performances weren't too great, although he had an okay game. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying, I'm losing my voice. He had an okay game, so I'm going to give him a 3, because I can't justify giving him a 2, he was just okay. However, Critchlow is a 2 bordering on a 1, because that first half he lost his head, and I think, when we've seen a lot of people talking about bringing him back next season, he's a good player, but he went to League One with Plymouth, and didn't get much game time, and when he did, he wasn't great, like Tariq Wright, funnily enough. Swindon, he were good, but with us, he's been good so far. And if I were giving him a rating out of 5 or 10, I'd give him a 7, and 5, I'd give him a 4. I think he's been a good player for us so far, at the heart of that defence, and for a young lad, he's done well, and a good experience for him. next move is a League One. I don't think he has that character because he did lose that confidence. He couldn't play a pass to Rido in the second half or the first half because he was worried if it had got out of play or if it didn't quite meet him. He had to play a 5-yard pass. And the problem with that is it slowed our play down. And not only that, he were fault for the first goal. Again, I'm not sure about the second, but his overall play, he looked really nervous. A 2 for Critchlow. Rideout though, I've had a lot of criticism headed his way. I've criticised him a lot. But today's performance was a lot better. I'd still give him a 3. I thought he was average, but a really good cross into a box for Andy Cook for his goal, his first one. And his crossing is decent, but it's getting to that area of the pitch to get the bloody crossing because he's slower than a truck reversing. But defensively he was good as well. I thought he was okay, but he's a limited player, and that's probably the best performance that Rideout can put in for Bradford City. So I'd give him a 3. I thought he was pretty decent, to be fair, today. Halliday, 2 again, too slow with the ball. Maybe didn't lack a lot of confidence, played back a lot. Going forward, won his best game. But the thing is with Halliday is he's a lot better than the options behind him, and he's solid. He's okay. He's a decent player, a bit like Matty Platt. And then into midfield, where I thought they had a pretty good game. Smallwood and Gilead, they're 2 players at the minute whose character, he's coming out, and they're showing energy and they're showing passion and they're showing effort. I'm just going to have to pause it because my voice is going. Sorry about that, I was turning to Paul Cook, but Smallwood and Gilead, I thought they took a lot of responsibility on. We saw their character, created chances, and like I said, they took the responsibility on. They took the ball on the half turn, they sprayed it around the pitch. I thought they had a really good performance, and 2 players who stood out to me. Smallwood gets my man of match, Gilead close, but both get a 4 for me because again, they showed that character, and from a tough first half, they responded to that. Banks gets a 3. If he got a goal or an assist, 4, and you could say he got an assist because he caused the penalty, so maybe you'll give him a 4. Let me know yours in the community tab. But for me, he's a really good player, really talented player. Left foot, right foot, cuts inside, terrorises defences, and he's got a good cross on him, but he's going to really improve. And it'd be sad if he goes. We probably can replace him with the right recruitment. But I thought he had a good game. But he just lacked that end product that I think him and Chapman especially this season have missed. But overall a pretty decent game. Like I say, it was at the heart. It was our bright light. We didn't have a lot going on, but every time it got to Banks, you just knew he was going to do something. Whether it was going to lead to a goal or not, which it sadly didn't, you just knew that get it to Banks and he'll call something. And that's what he did with the penalty. So a pretty good performance from Banks, but like I say, it just lacks that bit of end product that I'm sure he'll get with a couple of years, with a bit more development on him as well, because you can see how much he has developed this season. Never's 1, and I'll give him a 2, because for me, if you get a 1, I don't like giving 1s out, but 1's no effort, terrible performance, no ability, but mainly no effort. He gives effort, but he just ain't good. He's like Costello, and 2 loanees that came in January shows that we took a risk on them 2, but they're not good enough, and that's the problem, because both of them show a lot of effort. They track back, they do show that effort and commitment that you need, but they just don't have any technical ability. He got the ball once, it went out for a throw, and he had a couple of, especially in the first half, he was terrible. Second half, I think he held his hamstring and got brought off for debut, had a decent impact on the game. But he had the ball on the halfway line, no one on him, loads of space to run into, and he played it backwards on the halfway line, and for me that showed, 1, he doesn't have the confidence, he puts effort in, but he doesn't quite have the character, and he doesn't have the technical ability, because then a couple of minutes later he went out for a throw-in. So for me, just not good enough for City, and when he goes in the summer, we've got to replace these players with quality, and the character that he's got to put the effort in, yes, but you need the character to overcome the shouts from the crowd, and you need the quality as well that a Scott Banks and a Tariq Wright possesses, because we just don't have any replacement for them, and that's what we've seen with Tariq Wright. When he's gone, we just haven't replaced him. Jamie Walker, quickly a 3. I thought he was okay. Didn't do anything good really, apart from put a load of effort in. You guaranteed that with Jamie Walker, a lot of work rate. Played a few good passes and interchanges with Banks, but apart from that, didn't cause too many problems for their defence. And slowly he's not deteriorating, but his performances are at that high level that you expect from him, although he did have a decent game today, so that's why he's getting a 3. Andy Cook 4. I don't like giving 5s or 1s, but Andy Cook was brilliant today and he saved us from getting a point. His header in the for his first goal from Rydell's cross, really good header. You know, a bit of composure that he's needed in the last few games, and then his penalty were really well taken as well. I think he could have had a couple of chances, but he snatched out again. But a really good performance from Andy Cook, and he is our only hope. Let's be honest, because that performance in the second half, you know, whilst it was a good performance, it showed our performances this season where we've relied on Lewis to make a couple of really good saves, you know, elite saves for League 2 level, and then we've relied on Andy Cook to get a goal from either a cross or some sort of deflection that's gone to him or penalty. And that's what this season's been, unfortunately, and that's why we're not probably going to go up. We might just scrape playoffs, and automatics has quickly faded away in the last couple of games. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Player ratings in the community tab. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the season. So if you would do that, it would be massively appreciated.